Yeah, my camera is acting up there. Oh, let me... My camera's funky. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My camera's dancing to the beat. That's all right. What's going on? It is episode 137 of MCRAE Live. The date today is Thursday, January the 21st, 2021, 12:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I've got two guests on the show today, and when I switch over to them, I'll work on getting my camera situation worked out. It's Frank Riker and Darren Sands of the Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast. You know them not from just there, but of course they are two of my great moderators here on the channel. We'll be talking the Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast. We'll be talking movies and everything in between. That's right. Evil Alex says Dave unfriended. Yeah, that's right. It's very. I don't know what it's doing. I think it's having some trouble with Zoom because obviously it does that with when I do the Two Dudes show as well. So anyway, let me move over to our guests so they can kind of jib-jab while I get this worked out. There they are, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Riker and Darren Sands.
Hello,
What's going
everyone.
on, gentlemen?
How's everyone doing?
It's good to see you. I don't know why my camera's doing this. I have no idea. Let me see if I can switch to the other camera here while you guys 1 second. I'm gonna just delete me. You'll still be able to hear me, folks, but I'm deleting myself and 1 second here. Let me just I got to anyways, how you guys doing? Talk amongst yourselves while I do this.
We're doing pretty good.
We're good. We've just spent the afternoon recording. Is it next week's Slaughtered Lamb?
Yeah,
It's next week's Slaughtered Lamb.
Yeah, this week we released Chuck Norris.
Yeah,
Chuck Norris. I'm
Chuck
excited
Norris.
to see some Chuck Norris. Oh, wait a minute. I've moved you guys around by accident.
That's fine.
I gotta move you guys back. Hang on a sec here.
who we got? We got people saying hello here. Look, Gary Rangel, hi.
Hey guys.
Good.
Jason's there. Dia Maria.
Good to see you guys.
It's nice to see you guys all.
Well, Jason.
I'm here. Everybody is here. Don't worry. I'm just trying to get this all sorted out here.
We took over Dave's show.
That's exactly it.
Darren show.
That's exactly it, Frank.
We
took over the show. I'm rearranging the boxes. I'm putting the boxes back where they should be. You can't see me, folks, but nobody needs to see me anyway. As long as you can see these guys, that's what really matters. And then I'm doing this and then doing this. You see how this works, folks? This is how it's done. This is how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. And then we'll get Darren a bit bigger here as we try to rearrange this. There we go. Doing this on the fly. If this was okay, that's pretty good. Okay, you guys are back there in the saddle, ready? And then no, yeah, no, we're good. You guys keep chatting, and we're jagging it. You're and I'm going to put myself into the mix here while I show me from a different perspective, and doing this on the fly, calm, cool, and collected. We are, as I do that, and where'd I go? I have no idea where I am. Maybe that's strange. It should be.
I'm just pleased to see that we've got more viewers than your I Love Lucy episode, Dave.
I'm glad you do.
I was going to dye my beard red for that occasion.
You're going to dye it red. Oh, for some reason that now that camera's
Tabitha's worried because she can't see the top of your head, Frank.
Worried because you can't see the top of my head.
Should I take my hat off? No, but my camera's low because I want to, get the slaughtered lamb in there.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he's got the T-shirt on.
Well, wait a second. We are live. Hang on a sec. But the software has frozen on me. Can you guys? Are we still live?
Are we still live?
I want to see if people can still hear me.
We're doing it.
Can people
else
still
chat? Jonathan Nichols is here. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey, John.
Evil Alex.
Yeah,
Michael
we're still
King.
there. Okay. Don't worry. We're gonna get this
good folks
worked out.
They're all here.
We're gonna get this worked out. I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna get it worked out. We're gonna get it worked out, folks. Just relax and there I am. I'm back, but I'm a big square. And because that didn't sound right, but
No, I was going to say, yeah.
there was a big issue, right? Folks, if you're just joining us, this is Frank Riker. We can still hear you, Dave. Yes, that's good. Thank you, DMT. That's just Frank Riker in the bottom screen, of course, with the big beard, and Darren Sands above. There's an issue going on with my cameras and Zoom when I have guests on. When I don't have guests, the camera's fine, but for whatever reason, there's a disconnection with Zoom, and I realize I'm not the proper aspect ratio right now. I look at like I'm 4:3. It's like 1982 or something, but I figure I'll just do this for now, so we can get the show moving here, and maybe I'll try towards the middle of the show to put myself back into a more favorable type of view for all you people that care about that kind of shit. So anyway, so yeah,
well,
gentlemen,
at least people on the channel can see you, because Frank and I now can't.
No, you can't. That's right. You can't see me. But if you bring the show up, I think you should be able to see me. Yeah.
And we've got a lovely picture of you with your William Cat hair on the screen.
Yeah. yes. Yeah. My girlfriend took that photo actually when we were. That's about 5 years old now. That photo. She was taking a bunch of headshots for me and testing out a new camera that she got, and I really like it. I like that photo. So
without the V-neck, the sweater V-neck.
The sweater V-neck, that's right. Yeah, William Cat hair. Yeah, I do have hair. Yeah, it's there. It's there.
I'm probably the only one that doesn't have hair in this stream.
Possibly. I just noticed that we can probably. You know what? Let me, Frank. I'm cutting off your head for some reason. Let's do this a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. Can see you a little better now. Okay. This technical problems didn't start the way I was hoping to start, but anyway, not too bad. So, gentlemen, welcome to the technically challenged show. So, hey, let's start here. So, for those of you that don't know who you guys are, obviously this is Frank Riker and Darren Sands, and they are two of my moderators that are in the chat on most all my shows, which I cannot thank you guys enough for doing that, sincerely. The good news is that my shows tend to, 98% of the time everything's fine, and then every now and then you get somebody that usually probably the same person that comes in under many different accounts and causes issues, and then they leave. I don't know what it is. They like to check in and cause issues and then leave. But thankfully, 99% of the time, there's no issues. So I do appreciate you guys handling the moderating of the chat. But how did I know how. I'm trying to think, how did we all sort of, maybe you guys can refresh my memory. How did we all sort of meet? I mean, it was kind of like, I think it was a couple years ago now, I think.
Yeah. I know that, Dave, I came across your stream when I found out that Halloween 2018 was coming out, and I wanted to get everyone's reaction. And I looked at every channel, and your channel seemed to be the one that appealed to me the most. It was just straight, honest, not really much joking around and having a lot of, crazy animation in the back or whoopee cushion playing. Yeah, exactly like that. Here's Halloween.
That's right.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to follow this bloke, this chap.
This chap. That was for Darren.
Yeah. This gentleman.
It's like me saying, well, Darren, I discovered this mate. He was just, yeah.
And you know what? Then I just kept on following you. And then you started doing like more of the live chats. And I'm like, I'm going to get in on this. I got it. There's actually like-minded people out there like me that are just as demented and crazy.
That's right. 100%.
Yeah. I think it was similar for me as well. It was around the time of probably late 2017 or something. You started doing, these Halloween videos and that. And like Frank, I was scouring the internet and found your channel. Mm-hmm. But there was something about you. There was an integrity and an honesty, and that kind of attracted me. The one thing that annoys me, it's like when you go into a shop particularly mobile phone, cell phone shops. You go into a cell phone shop, and the first thing that people do is they pounce on you, and they want your, can I help you? Can I help? It's like, no, if I need help, I'll fucking ask for help.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I'm out. The moment you ask me if I want any assistance, I'm out. And a lot of people do that on channels as well. The first thing they say is, subscribe, like, hit this, hit that, do this, do that. No, I'm here to see what you're going to say, not to subscribe or to like or anything like that. I'll do that if I want to do it. Right. And you've kind of prided yourself in the fact that you've never asked anybody to subscribe or like to your channel. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, I never have, but it wasn't intentional. It was sort of that. It's now become kind of a like a thing. I think I realized it like a year and a bit ago, or maybe it was a little longer than that. But I realized, I don't know what it was. I guess I was watching somebody, and I think what it was is that I noticed that people tend to have the same rhythm with that. And so like you watch many different channels, they say the same thing in the same ways, they'll say like, don't forget to smash that, subscribe or smash that like bell and hit that notification button. And they'll have like little blip, blip, blip. And I'm thinking, does anybody have any originality? Everybody's saying why is everybody saying smash? Why is everybody saying hit? Like, why can't you say something like, and don't forget to diarrhea that, subscribe button. And, like, I don't know what it is. It's just everybody says the same thing. And I started to notice that. And I was like, is this like a prerequisite? Like you have to say it in this way, don't forget to hit that notification bell and smash that like button while you're here and hit the subscribe. And not that there's anything wrong with saying it. I just noticed that people use the same words. And I think I realized that I never did. I was like, God, I never do that. It never even dawned on me to ask people to subscribe to the channel. I think it just didn't occur to me. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe I should be doing that because maybe I'd be at like 80,000 subs by now if I did. But then I was like, no, I don't feel like I should. So no, you're right. I feel like it's a thing now where I can't.
There's no need.
Yeah. You don't, but people aren't stupid as well. They know what to do. Yeah. No, it's true. And I feel, I guess I feel that if I don't ask somebody to, although I do look at my analytics from time to time, and I realize that only 60% of the people that watch, or 68% of the people that watch me are actually subscribed to me. So there's about like another 34% that watch that aren't subscribed. So, which I think is usually the case. I mean, I'm hardly subscribed to anybody, so. But it's incredible, isn't it? Because obviously we monitor the chat quite closely, and there's a nice community there, and the same names kind of pop up all the time, and you instantly notice when there's somebody new. But when you compare the amount of people that are in the chat to the amount of people that actually do watch your videos eventually, or that are watching them live, for example, on a good two dudes, when you've got 300 or 400 people tuning in, people that partake in the chat are a tiny portion of your actual views. Yeah,
it's true. And, even on something as obscure as the I Love Lucy thing, where I just wanted to kind of talk about that and whatnot. I mean, I always know that those shows aren't going to, do well, I guess, depending on what, how you define that. But they're just, they're things that interest me. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I kind of want to talk about that. It kind of reminds me of my father when he used to write, because he'd have to write like 4 days a week. And I remember seeing him times, there were some times where he'd go, what the fuck to write about today? And he'd get, and then sometimes it would be just something that he found mildly amusing or interesting or, whatever it is. And then to kind of fill the gaps between, the stuff that is really interesting or, would get a lot of views or a lot of readers, I guess, in his case. But yeah, but even the I Love Lucy episode, I think right now has got over 1,000 views, and I was like, wow. I mean, that's kind of funny, because who the hell cares about that? But I have noticed though, and I think in a lot of cases, it's people tune in to listen to you, and they don't, it's not that they don't care about what you're talking about, but there's a lot of people that I listen to that sometimes just have on in the background, you know what I mean? And while I'm cleaning or doing work or, whatever. So it's a nice thing, and I appreciate that.
And that's testament to It's Me, Billy as well. The success of that and the amount of people that have jumped on board with it. It's, crazy. You're the brand and people, that's what people are going in for.
It's crazy. I still can't believe that we raised and during a pandemic, It's unbelievable that we were able to raise it during a pandemic and shoot it during a pandemic. Is crazy, and the love and support of that is amazing. So now tell me about this Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast and how you guys sort of ventured. You guys obviously met in the chat and becoming mods on my shows. How did that come to be? Like, I can certainly tell that you both have similar senses of humors, and they're right up the alley of my kind of sense of humor. And I can see you guys going back and forth with, the witty comments and things like that and in the chat. So maybe it was, an inevitability that, that the two of you would end up doing something. But how did that come to be? What sort of, what was the catalyst that made you guys start the Slaughtered Lamb movie podcast?
Well, Darren's sense of humor is very dry.
It is. So much so that sometimes I think he's serious.
It's a British wit, or us Americans find, certain things a little funny. But no, it's Darren reached out to me and he said, do you want to do something? Certainly this pandemic had something to do with it, of course.
That's a good point.
And he said, are you interested in getting something together? We like the same movies just by the chat. We're commenting on, things that people have never heard of, the movies that no one ever commenting on it. And he's like, let's talk about that stuff. And I said, yeah, fine, let's do it. I'm not doing anything. We'll get it started. And Darren is the brains behind this. He does everything, and I applaud him for it. Everything you hear, all the editing, getting everything all together. The topics we start talking about that are in the upcoming weeks. That's all Darren.
Right.
He's certainly the mind behind this, discussing all the movies.
I think the the furlough, the lockdown has helped, and working in the film industry, all cinemas are closed in the UK and have been for some time. Right. We've had brief periods of some being open, and so I've had a lot of spare time being at home for nearly a year now. And I think come late August, I think I was starting, I was saying to myself, I need a focus. I need to do something. And lots of people during the lockdown period were starting up YouTube channels, but I didn't really fancy that. I didn't want to commit to something like that. I thought if we do just a normal podcast, then we can dip in and out of it as often as we like. We haven't got an audience there who are kind of waiting all the time.
Yes.
And it is difficult to find podcasts, to stumble across them. That's the only challenge. Because YouTube channels, you get things recommended to you all the time. With podcasts, It's slightly different. I think you have to actively look for them, and so kind of encouraging people to seek you out. And that's the tough part. But we've been blown away with the amount of downloads that we've had since we started. I mean, and thanks to you, Dave, because the amount of plugs that you give us is just fantastic. And had we not had your platform to kind of launch off of, as it were, then we wouldn't be probably going into doing a second bunch of these podcasts now. So we're up to, I think we've done around about 15 already. We've got another 7 planned. And, thanks to you, people have been, searching us out.
Well, it's great. It's great stuff. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it if I wouldn't if I didn't sincerely like it to the degree that I do and think that it's fun to listen to. I would have plugged it once because you guys are, my moderators. I would have mentioned it, but I wouldn't mention it as often as I do because I just, what I mean? It doesn't feel right to do that because I'm like, it's okay, but it actually is really good. And I enjoy listening to it. And I like that you guys are talking about movies and things that are not necessarily, like you said, the mainstream in terms of, or, a lot of the things that I talk about here, of course, tend to be sort of the main kind of stuff because that's what the audience wants to hear. But you guys are talking about stuff and watching movies that people do watch, but that people don't watch either. And I think your first episode was An American Werewolf in London, if I'm not mistaken.
Right,
and
yeah.
that was a great thing to come out of the gate with because, we know all about it and stuff. But when was the last time any of the channels in our space talked about An American Werewolf in London, right? I mean, not often. And it makes me go, geez, I should talk about that. That's a really good movie, So tell me more about that, the idea of talking about these movies that people kind of go, oh, yeah. So
to piggyback off what Darren said, so when he thought of boredom, he thought about me automatically. And he's basically saying that Darren and I are your illegitimate children, Dave.
Right. Of course, naturally.
So when we want to talk about our first episode, what we could do, we had a plethora of what we could talk about. Darren and I thought because of the regions we were in, American Werewolf in London would be the best. It's a great Hollywood film with great makeup. It's a British film, even though it has a main actor as an American. And what a great clash to have him and I come upon this, do this podcast by introducing American Werewolf in London back to people.
Right.
So that's what we thought. We thought, let's do it.
It's a great first episode. And
a lot of people as well, they say, where'd you get the name from? Well, for those that have seen American Werewolf in London, it's the name of the pub at the start of the movie.
Right.
So they're in the North Yorkshire moors. They come across a pub, and the pub is called the Slaughtered Lamb, and it's void of any atmosphere whatsoever. But we thought it was a good name, for the
good name.
Yeah,
it's a great name. And of course, when you think of lambs or goats, and things like that, you can start going down the rabbit hole of the devil and all that, horns and all that kind of stuff, right? So I think it's I think it's a great name. I think you need to have your intro should be like the Slaughtered Lamb. Or something like that, where you just, like just a slight
or a leg of lamb sizzling on a grill or something.
That's right. But it's cool though, and it's now what so far has been I think I
don't ask us which so far is our most popular podcast because it's yours, Dave.
Is it seriously? Is it the
Die Hard one? It's the Die Hard one.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it just went nuts and is by far our most popular episode.
That's so funny.
What are you doing next week?
Yeah. Well, I'm at home. So I'm at home next week. So hey, whenever you guys want to have me on, I'm down. I think it's but what would be the besides Die Hard, what would be the one that has surprised you the most, maybe with the response, or maybe is there one that you've done that you thought that's not gonna, but all of a sudden it did get that surprised you in some sort of way, either the response or even surprised you guys as two hosts hosting it, talking about it, watching it. Did you even surprise yourselves, with maybe what you learned or what you were talking about or something that surprised you?
Well, we spend a week beforehand researching what we do. So we dive into DVD commentaries, we dive into IMDb. Even one episode, I actually, a friend of mine was a production assistant on Flash Gordon. So I chatted with him and got some info from him. So yeah, we spend a lot of time researching it, but when it boils down to it, and you look at the analytics, the 3 episodes that are the most popular are the Die Hard one with yourself, the Friday the 13th episode, because people are naturally drawn to that, I would imagine, right. And also the Halloween episode. So no matter how much you say we're going to stay away from these movies because they're too much, they're talked about too much.
Right.
And we did Halloween 3, which is the least talked about movie.
Until we recorded it.
I know all about that one, which I mean, I'll let you guys talk about it. But
Frank came to me and said, "I said, look, it's Halloween. We have to do an episode on Halloween.
Yeah.
But we've said all along that we're not going to touch any of the sort of big 4 or big 5 horror icons." And I said, well, let's do Halloween 3. Now, a few days pass, and Frank comes to me and he said, I have an idea. Why don't we do it with shots? And every time Tom Atkins gets a little bit sort of, gropey in the film, which he does quite a lot if you watch it, we have to do a shot.
Watch it now.
We have to do a shot. So I said, yeah, okay, that could be fun,
Yeah.
Literally, as we went, as we started to record the episode, Frank then added another iron into the fire, which was, oh, I tell you what, every time they play the Silver Shamrock song as well, let's do a shot then. And I was thinking, hang on a minute.
Don't remember that,
playing
Darren.
Fucking constantly throughout the film.
It is.
And we literally lasted half an hour and Frank sunk a whole bottle of, was it Jim Beam?
Jim Beam. Yeah.
in one half hour. And we had to break off and record the rest of it next week. But there was so much of that first. We actually saw the movie through. Frank was lying on the floor. He vomited. Can I tell him this? Yeah. Frank, do you want it? Yeah, he vomited 3 times during the podcast.
I don't remember it. You can say whatever you want.
He vomited 3 times during the podcast. Actually, when you listen to the podcast, you can actually only hear him vomit once, and we saved it till the very end as an outtake.
Right.
He collapsed on the floor in front of the computer screen.
Yeah.
And I carried on with the podcast and tried to keep it going myself, which was I was starting to struggle because I was getting a bit drunk at this point as well.
Yeah.
And I looked over and I could see a dog's tail wagging in front of Frank's webcam. And the dog was licking the puke out of his beard.
I've heard this story like 3 times, and every time I hear it, I laugh because I'm just imagining Darren looking at the webcam going, what the fuck is going on over there? And just hearing like...
And I'm on the ground, Dave.
Oh man,
yeah.
Darren's actually, the designated podcaster because he was actually making sure I was okay. I hear, like the voice from God or like a concerned father. Are you okay, Frank? Are you there? I'm like, just continue. I can still hear the movie. Let's just do it. Keep going. Oh, here comes another shot. Oh.
But because of the time difference, I think it was like 8 o'clock in the evening for me. So I was okay. I was, enjoying a sort of evening snifter. And but Frank, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon for him. And I remember getting to about an hour through the film, and he was literally, he couldn't speak. He was covered in spew. He couldn't speak. And he looked at me at one point and just went, I got to pick my kids up soon.
I didn't, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I did not pick them up.
Right.
They're still there.
They're still there right now. They just sleep there. That's what they do. That's wild. That
surprised us, Dave.
Yeah, I have listened to the Halloween 3 podcast because as soon as you guys told me about it, I had to go and listen to it. And but knowing what I knew going into it, I was listening for cues. Like I was trying to listen to the decline of Frank, as the podcast went on. And because you did a lot of editing to kind of edit around it and make it a little more, acceptable, people to listen to, you're right. Like you don't really hear it till the end, but there's moments throughout where I'm like, I can kind of feel the decline, I can kind of feel it a little bit. You know what I mean? It was funny. And like you said, I mean, there's a lot of outtakes and stuff that obviously could not be aired and did not air and will never air.
No. We have to be very careful.
Yes.
I'll give the listening audience and the watching audience a hint of where I lost kind of consciousness.
Lost consciousness.
It's at where we meet Buddy and his family. So at the beginning of the hotel.
Okay.
So
When
I
they
think
arrive at the Shamrock. Yeah.
Yeah, when they arrive.
Wow,
at
that's like just halfway through.
Yeah.
It's no. It's I think it's literally half an hour in. It was just we started re-recording on the bit with Jamie Lee Curtis's voice doing the announcement across the town.
Right.
And then next week we recorded it again, and
that's the part where we started again. But I think it's really, I did a double shot when I saw Tom's ass get up.
Right.
To see what happened to his poor dearly departed ex-wife.
The one thing that I thought of when you told me about this and how inebriated, you got, I thought to myself, boy, he must really be gropey. Like I never noticed how gropey
he is.
He must
he
be.
He can't help himself. He's touching people left, right, and center.
Wow.
And I think he has, is it 3 or 4 women on the go in that film?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he
has his wife. He's the doctor. There's the girl. What's her name?
No, you're right.
Yeah. So he's
no, not Nancy.
No, it's his ex-wife though, is played by Nancy Keys, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And so she's
Cambridge.
a bowl full of she's a bowl full of personality, isn't she?
Yeah. She's horrible in that film.
Oh, God. Dreadful. I would have left her too. I think
keep your kids. I'm going after the old nurse I work with.
That's right. That's it. So I mean, you guys are I mean, it's new. It's 15 episodes in. What are you sort of like with me and this channel? I mean, there's some people have said to me, because over the year or so, some people have reached out to me and said, Dave, if like, what am I trying to say? Okay, let me rephrase this. For me, I always sort of just wanted to jump on and talk about movies and express my thoughts, and how big the channel gets or how big the channel doesn't get is sort of out of my sort of my control, to a degree. I mean, if I did movie reviews and uploaded all sorts of superhero stuff and movie reviews, I mean, I'd probably be up at 80,000 subs. But I want to talk about what I want to talk about, because then I don't burn out and I don't lose interest, or whatever the case is. For you guys, do you have any goals, or is it just kind of like where I was when I first started doing this? Like whatever happens kind of happens, and you can kind of steer it in a little bit of a direction, but you don't necessarily have a set goal. Do you have goals for it? Or are you just kind of seeing where it lands?
I think we're just going to see where it lands. I'm certain that after this pandemic is over, that it's definitely going to change.
Right.
Certainly if we were on YouTube and discussed this and record stuff, we weren't going to have as much content after the pandemic.
Right.
Podcast seems to work for us. And plus Darren and I are really we don't have the faces for YouTube.
Right.
We're not,
I think you do. I think you do.
It seemed like people just, they talk to me all the time. They go on Facebook and message me and said, Frank, can we just get your mouth and your beard on the video? The rest of you just suck. So they want me to record just like this, and that's about it.
That'd be really funny, actually.
It's just a close-up,
Right, right.
But Darren, I think we found our niche. We want to keep this, because we based it off our podcast off Joe Rogan,
right,
and his YouTube community. Well, it's not YouTube anymore, but back then it was YouTube.
Right.
We've discovered that I guess 70% of YouTube's audience listens to it.
Right.
Because we listen to YouTube in the car, we're listening to it at work, we have it playing in the background, as you said, Dave. And with podcasts, at least we can get away with a little bit more than YouTube will let us.
Right.
And so I think we're going to continue on this path. We will still be like, if someone wants us to come on, we'll come on, definitely, because we like this stuff. But I think we're pretty good where we are now.
Have you ever thought about uploading just the audio in podcast form as it is to YouTube?
No.
I'm doing this. That's not a bad idea.
No.
It's we've chatted about YouTube now and again and whether we should do it. I think we were really surprised with how people embraced the first 10 that we laid out.
Right.
And that immediately when we said, let's take a break over Christmas, draw up some titles for another 10 episodes, right, and let's take it from there. We've realized that, I think concentrating on one film for an hour or an hour and a half or whatever is sometimes tough because you need a lot of information to talk about, for an hour. So I think we're only going to do those sort of episodes with movies that we both are particularly obsessed with.
Right.
The rest of it, we've kind of picked subgenres. Like we did a Chuck Norris episode, which has just come out today. We did a haunted house episode that came out last year, and we've got next week. I think we're going to do Peter Jackson, but his early films, not the Lord of the Rings and the King Kongs and all that guff. The stuff that he started on. So the really kind of, in some cases, really extreme horror that he did, like Bad Taste, and it's called Brain Dead in the UK, but it's called in America Dead Alive, and Meet the Feebles, and even The Frighteners, which is a kind of an adult version of Ghostbusters in some ways.
Right.
So picking 4 or 5 films to concentrate on one episode seems to be working for us a lot better than focusing on one title at the moment.
Well, I like that too. And to your point earlier, when you said that it's, even though you guys have done this, and this, it's the Halloween episode or it's the Friday the 13th episode. I think you had a Friday the 13th one, right? You said you did?
Yep.
Yeah. We did everything we hate about Friday the 13th. The original movie.
The original. Yeah. Right. No, I get it. I think too, because I plug the show here, and obviously you get those people that want to listen to that kind of stuff sort of move over, and when they see sort of this list of stuff, they immediately hone in on, Halloween, Friday the 13th. I mean, it speaks to them like it's have this hue around it, or something. But I encourage people to listen to the other episodes as well, because they're funny and you guys are insightful and knowledgeable and you bring your own spin to it and you talk about all sorts of stuff. And, there's lots of things you guys have talked about. I'm like, oh, geez, I didn't know that, and so it's good stuff, and if you enjoy listening to you guys, then you'll enjoy listening to no matter what you're talking. I mean, there might be some shows that you don't really care about, but I think you're still early, and you're still sort of finding your audience as well, and because there's an audience for everything, right? I mean, there's there are people that just care about the big, whatever it is, the big 3, the big 8, the big 12. I don't know what the hell it is now. Like, what is it? And then there are others that do care and don't care about anything else. But then there are others that do care about that, but also like to get more niche-y, and finding the more obscure stuff. So, like, you guys started this in September? October. Yeah. So it's only like 3 months.
Yeah.
It'll be I'll be very curious to see where you guys are this time, like next year, like a whole full year and a bit has gone by.
Hopefully
and you could tell
in a job
because our our first recording, the American Werewolf one, you could tell that we're just like, who's going to say something first?
Nervous.
We were nervous. There's no one watching us. We're still recording. We're not live. But we wanted to make it where people are going to say, who are these guys? I mean, they're kind of knowledgeable or everything. It took a lot of takes. Dave, it's probably like you when you did your first, actual recording. You were like, oh, I don't know if I could, do this, or I sounded like shit.
It was tough.
Yeah,
we recorded for 2.5 hours for American Werewolf, and got it down to an hour because we just we were pausing and stopping and checking Google and
going
doing this
back.
and that. But now we've got into a groove, whereas we literally just talk for an hour and a quarter, and pretty much all of it stays in. There's very minimal editing. There might be a
because you find
or something like that.
The natural chemistry was always there. It was just finding that rhythm, and that balance. And it's strange. I mean, I look at some of the first videos I mean, I was never for me, because I'm a performer by I don't know, by trade or whatever. But I was never nervous. But I look at sort of the earlier stuff that I did, and it looks, I don't know what it is. It feels different. Maybe it's because I look a little younger. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I've aged. Maybe I've aged like 30 years in the last 3 years or something. I don't know. Maybe it's the beard. I think because maybe when I first started, I didn't have that. But it definitely is. You find a rhythm, and it's not easy. You know, I mean, this thing that's people don't understand. It isn't easy to do it and to keep the energy. And the thing too is that I establish a certain energy. So I established it, and now I feel like I've got to, like, I'm exhausted after some shows. Like there are some shows where I'll be like, all right, in the meantime, in between time, I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. And then as soon as it goes to the Patreon card, I'm like, fuck, like, and I go out there and I'm crawling on the ground to the couch and I'm like lying on the, like I just ran like 8 miles or something.
Need food.
Yeah. Oh, food. There are sometimes after a Two Dudes episode or after a MCRAE Live episode where I am starving. And it's because you expend so much energy being here, you know? So, and there are times where I'm like, why did I start here? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I should, cause I can't, cause you know, I'll try to have sort of more of a, hey guys, what's going on episode. And I get, what's wrong with Dave? Is he okay? I don't know. Is something wrong? Are you okay? You depressed? Is something wrong? And I get all these messages like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay.
But it also helps that Darren and I, we tried one recording where it was just, we're recording each other's voice. And we were just waiting for somebody to pick up a next sentence.
Right.
There was that awkward pause.
Yeah.
And so Darren was just like, no, I got to be looking at you. And I said, well, I got to look at you too.
Yeah.
We have to be looking at each other to, and
Yeah.
sometimes, like you said, Dave, having that maybe extra person.
Oh yeah.
If you're doing recording with each other, you got to have a visual. You can't just.
Oh yeah, you do, and I find that when I do the Two Dudes episode, it you know, it always helps to have Tony there because he can take a lot of the pressure off, right? In terms of the energy, so I can come in, but I'm not like on, you know, MCRAE Live. I'm talking, you know, if I don't have guests on, I'm talking nonstop for 90 minutes. You know, and at a high peak. So I always find it easier when I have guests on or with Tony where I can talk, but then they take over, he takes over and he talks for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I can just sit there, you know, so I don't sweat as much after those episodes. But you're right. It is always easier to see the person,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I like that too. We did that when we recorded the Die Hard episode, that we could see each other while we were watching the movie, even though the visual portion isn't part of it, it still helped, I think, the flow of the actual show. So
Yeah, and there was a point, ladies and gentlemen, where Dave actually unbuckled his pants, you know, and just put his feet up.
I did. Yes, exactly. I took my pants off. I got naked. We were, you know, we're three dudes.
Kick the shoes off.
That's exactly it. And I, you know, I looked right in the camera and I said, do you mind? And you know, we're like, no, you know, we're all guys here. You know, we'll pretend we're in, you know, the locker room.
We were there,
you know,
before you started.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I was very surprised when Darren came on. He was topless. I thought, oh, well, this is interesting. I don't know what's going on here, but
Yeah.
A couple of
Die Hard
guys
for sure.
no, I don't know. It just it's the way it's the way it is. So your latest episode is the Chuck Norris one.
Yeah.
Are you just talking about Chuck Norris in general and Chuck Norris movies, or something specific?
We basically went away and we do this sometimes. We sort of we pick a subject and then a few movies, but we won't tell each other what we're doing until closer to the episode. Right. So I think I did Invasion USA, the Delta Force, and well, the cheesier they are, the funnier it becomes when you're watching
the epitome
them,
of testosterone.
Yeah. But that film, can you believe that movie? And this is something I found out when I was researching. I've always loved it since I was a kid. Has 4 Oscar winners in it and 2 Oscar nominees. The Delta Force.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you have Lee Marvin, Martin Balsam, who else? Shelley Winters.
Yeah.
There's one other as well. And you've got George Kennedy. You have Robert Vaughn and Robert Forster. as well. So it's a huge ensemble. I don't really kind of class it as a Chuck Norris movie. It's almost like a 70s disaster flick. You know those big ensembles that they did in the 70s with the Towering Inferno and Poseidon and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like one of those, you know, that involves an airline getting hijacked.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun with that, but we also did Silent Rage as well, which was requested to us by one of our listeners. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, Dave, but it's a Chuck Norris film that heavily plagiarizes Halloween.
Oh, to the T.
Really?
Unbelievable.
What's the movie called again?
Silent Rage.
Silent Rage. I'm looking this up right now. Silent Rage, 1982. Chuck Norris here, ladies and gentlemen. Silent Rage. It says here, a sheriff kills a murderer whose body is then donated to science. 3 doctors operate on the body using a revolutionary drug that not only brings the criminal back to life, but also gives him superhuman powers. When the resurrected man begins to kill again, the sheriff faces the difficult task of hunting him down. That's just from Google, and I'm here on the page. Chuck Norris, Ron Silver.
So Ron Silver's your Loomis, Chuck Norris is your Brackett. Okay. It's incredible, right down to the certain shots in there where they actually use a silhouette on the wall. The lighting's red instead of blue, like in Halloween. And there's a scene where the killer's walking down a staircase, and you would swear that the shadow on the wall is the Myers mask.
Wow. Okay.
But he's not wearing a mask. The killer doesn't have a mask. He's just impossible to kill, if you like.
Right. Now, superpowers ain't like the ability to fly. You know, he's super healing, super strength. So just think of it in those terms. You can absolutely compare the killer to Michael Myers with that type of those type of powers.
I'm looking at an image here of a hefty guy that looks like it could be Gareth from Halloween 2. I don't know. he's
Garrett, yeah. Oh no, that's
sorry, Garrett. Not Gareth. Garrett. I said Gareth. Why I say Gareth? Garrett. That's Stephen First.
Yes, that's Flounder from Animal House.
Oh, it totally is too. Yes, it is. Yeah,
he's the deputy, and he's like
that's right.
The most annoying character in the world.
He's Officer like, Dewey in Scream.
Yeah.
Any chance?
But there are scenes in that film. There's a scene where when he's first resurrected and he goes after his psychiatrist, and he's in his house, and you get the POV shot of the drawer opening in the kitchen, the hands going in, grabbing the knife, walking up the stairs. It's honestly, some of the sequences are identical to Halloween in there.
And what about the soundtrack?
There's synthy? A kind of eerie sort of, it's not quite Halloween ripoff, but it's
I got you.
Pretty naff.
I got you. Thanks to our other great moderator, of course, Tabitha Short, who just put a link to the Slaughtered Lamb podcast in the chat room.
Tab.
Thank you, Tabitha. Thank you for doing that. I will also post a link in a pinned post at the top of the show or at the top of the comments section after the show is done. I'll make sure that there's a pinned post there with the link so people who watch after can click on the link.
Excellent. Thank you.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I'd never heard of the movie. Actually, I never heard of the movie. So I want to check that out. Maybe it'll be some Chuck Norris tonight. some Dave and Chuck Norris tonight. I think I might do that. Okay.
Maybe a future topic, the Halloween ripoff.
That's it. That's it. So are you guys able to tell us about maybe what shows you have coming up or what shows you would like to do or what's, because I know you guys have, you don't want to, whatever.
Well, we had to reschedule some, Dave, because we were about to do Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The 78?
Yeah. And then you did it.
Fucking great. Did I do it? I didn't do it.
You did. You did. You did an episode on MCRAE Live.
On MCRAE Live, yeah.
So we postponed that to this season. Then we said, I tell you what, let's do The Thing. And we
And
did
then I
a
did
Saturday watch along.
Oh, I did do that. I did. Well, next
so
week's Saturday movie night is Breakdown, so don't do that.
No, we're okay with that.
We're okay with that. So we have those two coming up. I think we're also doing Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes. Yep. We're doing that.
Big Trouble Little China. Yeah, that's a good one.
We're doing an episode on werewolf movies. So
Yeah,
there's lots that we
genre. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We just recorded Underwater Terrors. So
that was fun.
Yeah, we just recorded that literally before we came on.
Very cool.
The show.
Underwater terrors. So that means like movies that deal with underwater, like like Jaws and
correct,
and Piranha and whatever, right? Like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Because you can't be talking about, like, when we decide to do a show, you can't be talking about Jaws for 2 hours because it's been regurgitated and chewed up. Oh yeah. And same thing with Chuck Norris, because Chuck Norris is basically an action. Could you imagine going through an action movie, talking about the synopsis and the plot? So Chuck Norris, kicked some guy at this point, he sucker punched him here. We just don't do, just try to get everything all together in one big bowl.
That's it.
Talk about it that way. I can't imagine talking about Jaws for 2 hours without.
Oh, that's the way to do it. It's look, I mean, it's just, I feel the same way about, well, and I hate to say it because I know I'm a Halloween channel, but there's only so much that you can talk about before, and and like I said before we went live, I said, that because I don't mind answering the same question 84 times or repeating myself for emphasis. So if I'm like, I can't repeat that, then it's like, well, Dave must really be, you know what I mean? But there's only so much, there's only so many things that you can do and talk about before, like you said, Frank, you're regurgitating it and you're saying the same thing, but you're saying it in a different way, and there's nothing wrong with that if enough time has gone by, but I think there just needs to be, I don't know. I just don't think that, like you said, I mean, Jaws, but what hasn't been said about it?
Exactly. There's nothing. And this, Jaws, well, certainly our favorite film of all time, both Frank and I, is Halloween,
right?
The original Halloween. And, we've said all along that we want to cover it, but what is there to say? I think the key is to find a different way of covering it, that hasn't been done before, but I just don't know what that is at the moment.
It's tough to do. Because that's how I sort of, that's how I kind of came to be on the from birth. No, from on the channel was that I remember it was 2017 or it was 2016, I think, when it was announced that Carpenter was coming back to executive produce. And of course, everybody was losing their minds. And I was like, well, that doesn't really mean much. But, I thought, I mean, it could mean something, but it likely doesn't mean as much as people think it does. And then in 2017, I think it started to ramp up, because they were going to shoot. And then it was announced that Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back, but I remember when I was searching for things to look at on YouTube in regards to Halloween, there wasn't a lot of deep cuts, or deep dives. I mean, there's always the rankings and there's always that kind of stuff, but and what the series is all about. But I wanted to approach talking about Halloween from a more deeper perspective. I want to talk about the psychological, angle of the character and the original, and because there wasn't a lot of people. There's a lot. It surprised me how many people. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, you guys probably did because you're big fans. It's your favorite movie. But it surprised me how many people didn't know that it was supposed to be just one movie and that there was no point in going on all that. And I couldn't really find much on that. So I started talking. So I thought, well, there's my in. So I can sort of talk about this kind of stuff. But now, I mean, I don't know how many. I mean, I've done so many videos on the psychology and the boogeyman and this and that and what it all means and the shape and the this and that I don't even know what more I can do on it anymore. It's sort of like I've hit a point where it's like, it is what it is. There's really not much more to talk about in that regard. So I don't know what the angle would be to Halloween anymore.
Until the
new
movie comes
information.
out, that'll be it.
Yeah, like I don't know what new information we can sort of, and that's why when I discovered through old articles and through an interview, and I can't remember where I saw it now, it's a couple years ago, that at the end of Halloween, she says it was the boogeyman and not, was it the boogeyman? I pounced. I was like, oh my God, something new. I guess something that's obscure and kind of like deep cut-ish, and I can go on there and I can, as a voice actor, I can kind of explain why it probably sounds like this. And of course, you still have people going, no, that's not what happened. No, it's totally. I'm like, no, this is what it is. Here it is. It was confirmed. It's in the script, for Christ's sakes. There it is in the script. And all this kind of stuff. And I got all excited, and the same thing happened with Dean Cundy when people were like, why are the parents just standing there? I don't get it. I was like, well, because it's called, it's a cinematic tableau, and this is what I was like. Oh, I'm deep cutting. I like doing that kind of stuff. But even now, I'm kind of like, I think that's done. I don't know how much more deep you can get with the movie before it turns into, ranking the Loomis eyebrow raises. I mean, I just, I don't know.
His trench coats.
His trench coats.
His
right.
driving skills.
Yeah. Ranking his shoelaces, or I don't know what else to do. And I will always jump on if I find something like that, like, oh, it's it's a cinematic. And I went to Dean Cundy at the convention and I asked him and he confirmed it. He was like, yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. That's
one thing Darren and I will never do. We won't do ranking videos. I mean, it's something about a ranking video just takes something away from your number 1 to your number 5 or your number 10. And it
changes all the time.
Yeah,
it does. It does. And I don't mind ranking my favorite masks or something like that. I mean, or like, I don't mind sort of that kind of stuff. I think I even ranked the Loomises a couple of years ago, like each, version of Loomis, because nobody had done it. So I did it. But somebody asked me, and bless their heart, they asked me, I think it was like 6 months ago or whatever, to rank the... was it? It was, and I thought they were kidding, but they were serious. And to rank had something to do with the police, like rank the badges or something, or the like.
Sorry about that, Dave. I didn't mean to upset you.
Yeah, it was something like that. And I thought, so I responded to them. I said, "You mean rank the badges? Like, I can't even fucking tell you what the badge looks like. I'm not paying that much attention. I mean, I know it's like a star, I guess, on bracket, but it was something like that, like rank the badges or rank the cop car, like
the uniform
sounds
or
something, or rank the siren sounds, or like the uniforms or something. And I'm like, rank the siren sounds. So in Halloween 1, it's whoop, in Halloween 2, it's whoop. Like, I don't even know what to do. I mean, I think that's so absurd. I was like, I'm not that desperate yet. It's crazy what people, they just want content. I mean, I could sit and talk Halloween, and really I could talk about nothing. I'm just talking nothing. Mm-hmm. And it just, everybody loves it. They love talking Halloween. And I think it's so cool, but it's fascinating. Like, people are hungry for that.
I think the pot of gold, if it ever does happen, is if the Accards ever give in to those guys who have all that alternate footage.
Yes.
And if that, I mean, they just want too much money for it at the moment. For those that don't know, there are two guys that own all the different camera angles for Halloween, and there's also a lot of B footage in there, which I think some of it appeared online briefly. It involved Nick Castle dancing on the lawn lawn at the end. Yeah. But they reckon that the movie can be pieced together again using alternate camera angles.
Interesting.
And they offered it to the Accards a few years ago, and the price on it was just ridiculous. And the Accards just turned around and said, "No, thank you.
No, thank you."
Who's going to be interested in that?
Right.
But there's a lot of people would be interested. Yeah. And if that ever happens, that would give you plenty to dive into if we ever get
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because then, that's, again, it's new information, right?
Yeah.
So then it's information where you can look at that and then you can dissect it and go, would this make the movie better? Would it make it, is that a better angle? Does the story, does it tell a different, maybe there's a different angle of Lori walking over here and how she meets, I don't know, but how she meets Tom, whatever it is. And, we can milk that to death too, obviously, but then it's new information and then it's fun to tune into that. And, but that's a great catalyst for why I didn't jump online. Well, actually I couldn't because I was very busy with post-production on It's Me, Billy, when the picture from Empire dropped of Michael Myers yesterday, and I saw it, and it's a beautiful image. It's a great promotional image in terms of him in the fire and the house and standing there, but we've seen it. And I know we have,
right. That was the only time we ever saw it was blurry. Right. And I know that we haven't seen it looking like this, but I discussed the halogen or Halligan, I guess it is, thing he had in his hand over a year ago. I did a live where we're examining the sizzle reel that they released at Halloween 2019, which showed that. That was the first time we saw it. And I don't know, I couldn't get motivated it wasn't motivating enough for me to stop what I was doing and jump on. And I know people want to know my thoughts. I do. And I can tell you right now, it's a cool image. I mean, it is, it's a really cool image, but it's not the kind of image that, and even the few behind the scenes that came out, there's nothing there that I can, I mean, they're just cool images, there's nothing new that's there. And people often ask, but you did more of that in the lead up to 2018. I said, well, yeah, because it was 40 years in the making, arguably. And Carpenter was back, and Curtis was back, and Castle was back. I mean, Jesus, there were people that thought Castle was going to be Nick Castle in the whole movie up until the release of the thing. There was a lot of stuff to speculate on, and there was a lot of, every little bit of information or every photo that came out, there was something we could talk about. But now that we sort of know the vibe, and of course there's a leaked script out there that a lot of people have read, and it's sort of, I see the images, and until I see something that we haven't seen yet, like the one that Total Film released, I just think I'd be, I don't know. I can tell you how I think in a tweet. It looks good.
Yeah. There becomes a point as well, whereas, sorry, Frank, go on.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say,
it would have.
Go on.
Okay. Really quick, I think that picture that picture would have been a lot better if they put the Ben Tramer mask on him. You want to see, the internet breakdown. It's coming out, and if they just put on that Ben Tramer mask, holy shit, you would have people with a shitstorm. Oh my gosh, that blonde fucking hair again.
Yeah, exactly.
Was he running asbestos? What the hell's going on?
Well, that's how you do it, right? And it's kind of like, people say, yeah, but it doesn't look good. It's like, yeah, but it's supposed to look, of course it's going to look great. I don't expect anything. I mean, even The Last Jedi looked fucking amazing, and of course that's, you don't expect anything less at that level, but you're right, to your point. I mean, if he had it, which would be weird because obviously that doesn't make any sense, but you're right. If instead of holding the, Halligan, he was holding
a sub
sandwich, a fireman's head,
an umbrella,
a fireman's head, an umbrella, right? An umbrella, something. But then I'd be like, oh, I got to jump on and talk about this. What the fuck does this mean? But it's standard PR stuff, or it's standard promotional images. I mean,
I saw
it's a great
guy. A guy yesterday was commenting on the picture. I can't remember where it was, where I saw it now, but he was losing his shit. He was basically saying, he hasn't got three fingers in that shot. Look, you can see he hasn't got three. I was like, who cares, for crying out loud? The guy, he stood in the middle of a fire doing a stunt, for fuck's sake.
That's right. That's
right. Worry about these fingers?
Oh, yeah. Well, I saw somebody was analyzing, what was it? Because I went on, and it wasn't a video. It was a post that I saw on social media, and I don't know where I saw it. Damn it, because I see it, and I scroll by. It might have been on Killer Flicks, but maybe not. Maybe it was somewhere else. And somebody was analyzing the flames of the fire, and
It's been around for 500,000 years, people.
Analyzing, they showed the photo, and they were analyzing the flames of the fire and trying to figure out whether the fire is hot enough to have either killed Michael, like hot enough where it would have produced smoke that Michael would have died from the smoke, and it doesn't make sense that he's standing on, the balcony or on the deck, and whether or not, like, what the temperature would have been based on the color of the flames. And I read this and I'm like, no, come on, are you serious?
You should just go back. You just go back and say, look, that fire, Chuck Norris started that fire rubbing 2 ice cubes together.
I've never heard that expression. That's really good. Starting a fire rubbing. That's really good. I like that. But I love people's passion. I mean, I love the fact that so many people love the franchise as deeply as they do, and love, and I sincerely mean this. I really appreciate that people care so much about what I think. I mean, that is amazing. But people need to understand that sometimes you look at an image and it's like, what value do I bring by jumping online and talking deeply about, I mean, okay, so he probably killed the firefighters. It's the same stuff we've been talking about for over a year. And I don't really bring anything new. I'm just going to recite what I said before, which, like I said, I mean, I tend to do from time to time. So, if I have an issue with it, then, that there's a problem. But, I couldn't, it wasn't, oh my God, enough for me to remove myself from post-production on It's Me, Billy, to jump on and do a video about it. Was, but I'm glad people are really excited.
There becomes a point as well where the film company has to dial things back in, because they've been plugging this now for the best part of coming up to 2 years.
Yeah.
And not for the fan base, but just for your casual cinema goer, there'll become a point where people, especially with lockdown and the pandemic and everything, are going, well, didn't that movie come out already?
That's right.
Seeing so much stuff, and just give it a rest. Let it die down for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know why, really. I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question. I think we know why, but I don't know why, or feel the need to release these images now. I don't even know what is their benefit for it. I mean, it comes across as just like, hey, just to let you know, we're still here. It reminds me of when I was a kid, and this goes back to the 80s when I was like 5, 6 or whatever. And I'd be in bed earlier, obviously, like I'd be in bed by, I don't know, 8 o'clock at night or whatever. And we lived in a bungalow, so my bedroom was just off of the kitchen, and my older sister, who's 15 years older than me, so if I was like 6, she was like close to 20 or 21, I guess, and then my mom would sit in the kitchen having a conversation, right? And I could still hear them, even though it's 8 o'clock at night. It gets a little dark, I'm in bed, and I could hear them just having a random conversation at the kitchen table. And sometimes I would hear them go, yeah, well, it's really like, well, it's kind of like this. And I would hear sort of like whispering. And at that age, I used to think, are they talking about me? Like, are they like, whatever? And so I would pipe up and I'd go, I'm still not asleep yet. And I would say that. I would say, I'm still not asleep yet. And eventually they'd go, yes, we know, David. We know, whatever. But I always got, so it kind of reminds me, like, is that what Halloween's, hey, we're still not asleep yet. We are here. We are actually, just let you know, we're here. And it's like, but like, it's January, man. I don't understand what the point of this would be. I mean, I understand, but are they so worried that people are going to completely forget about this? And so they should, because then when you really start to ramp up marketing in the spring, hopefully, then it gets exciting again. But I don't understand what the point of even these 2 images are. I don't. What do they do other than come and go or go as fast as they came?
It's because the studios owe us something.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they don't know anybody anything. But you're right. And I mean, again, it's rhetorical because I get what they're doing, but it feels sort of, there's not really anything new I mean, there's little tidbits of information that's new, I guess, but okay, now it's Thursday, and do we care about the image that dropped yesterday? No. I mean, it's like unless you're going to build up some moment, because at first I thought, are they starting their marketing campaign now? Because I'm like, are they gonna, which doesn't make any sense. So that's not what they're doing. But I don't know. It's strange. It looks good, but I don't really have anything to say on it. I'm waiting for the poster. I'm waiting for the poster, which will probably be like May or something to that degree, maybe end of April, maybe. And then, but that's all in accordance to everything being normal, but the poster I can get. I mean, the poster's probably. I mean, look, there's a lot of fan posters out there that's probably what the poster's going to look like. Yeah. I see some amazing fan posters with people who know how to work their Photoshop magic, and just you have the mask on fire and whatever, and this, and I'm just like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, it'll probably look something a little more underwhelming than that, actually.
Studios now commission fan posters.
Yeah.
They do it quite a lot. They will, run competitions and look at fan artwork out there and sometimes use it if it's that good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Because now, I mean, you don't even know because there are some that look fantastic. There's some that look great. There's a couple of super chats that came in, and we can take some of your questions. If you guys have questions for Frank and Darren, or just in general about the Slaughtered Lamb podcast or movies or whatever, get your questions in now. We have a little bit here we can talk. Anna M. Pop sends in a $5.49. I guess that's a euro. I think that's a euro, I think. For Frank and Darren, love you guys. I love you too, Dave. Just a little bit of an after.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks, Anna. Really appreciate it. Tom Ungurian says, love you guys. Thank you, Tom. Mendel Goodman says, Dave, the different feeling you get from your old shows in the past 3 years is the different look of your studio. Your wall behind you used to be empty. Yeah, I guess that's sort of, and I was shooting on my phone then too. Mendel. I shot everything on my phone in 2017 and most of 2018. I think it was the summer of 2018 where I actually got a webcam. So I used to shoot everything on my phone. And then Anna sends in another one and just says, for bathtubs. I don't understand the reference.
Hot tubs.
Hot tubs. It's hot tubs. It's for hot tubs, Anna. Hot tubs. But I mean bathtubs.
You can make your own bubbles in a bathtub too.
You can definitely have some fun in a bathtub. I mean, there's nothing. But yes, it's for hot tubs. I think is that, because I was like, for bathtubs, is that an inside joke that I've completely missed here or something? Tabitha says, Frank, I don't know if your career is considered to be in the health field. If so, is it required for you to get the COVID vaccine, or is it by choice? Just curious.
I'll probably have to be required because I go into a lot of people's houses.
Frank, I think you should tell people what you do, because I just think it's amazing what you do, and
it
far
is really
more
cool.
Exciting than anything that any of us do here. So
it's really cool.
So I am in the animal control field. So what I do is I help. Our main job is to prevent the spread of rabies from animal to animal, from animal to people.
Right.
So we go into a lot of houses where there's a lot of hoarding situations. I can remember one where there's 100 dogs, little dogs in stacks of cages that when you brought them out, they don't know the feeling of grass on their feet. Yeah. Very, very sad conditions. And these are people who thought they were helping animals. Right. We also do that, take care of the sick animals. So anything animal related is what I deal with. And also, going to houses at this time where you don't know what the unfortunate person died of is kind of scary.
Right. Yeah.
That's what
I've
do.
seen those. I've seen those hoarder shows, and I mean,
exactly like it. It's not a joke. Yeah.
I just don't understand how. Like, I mean, listen, everybody leaves the dishes out every now and then. And you're like, I'll do those dishes tomorrow, or whatever. You know what I mean? I mean, we've all had a counter that's got maybe a few more crumbs on it than should over a day or so. But I mean, I can't even imagine just tossing garbage and just letting it, like, some of these shows are so insane that it almost doesn't even seem real, and it's crazy. Like, my hat's off to you, for doing that. And because you're the job that you have is you are, you have a job where you're making a difference, not just in people's lives, but of course, in the lives of animals too, and which directly affects people. And so I think it's great. I think it's great what you do. So that's what Frank does. Whoa, some super chats came in here. David Lee Barron sends in a $4.99 super chat, says, to our Lord and Savior, Darren Christ. How about we rank the top 10 Halloween boobs scenes? Oh, yeah, baby.
Do that. Let's do that.
Top 10. No, but are there? Hang on.
PJ Souls. PJ Souls.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, if you look at, wait a minute.
Pamela Snoop.
Well, Pamela Snoop, but see, now maybe I'm wrong, but to me, Pamela Snoop's boobs looked fake to me. They look too like bowling ball-ish. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
they look fantastic
fake
to me.
Well, I'm more of a natural kind of guy, but I mean, maybe. No, I would. For me, I would have to side with Darren on this. I think I would. I think PJ Souls would be the quintessential Halloween boobness. I mean, maybe that would have changed if What's Her Face in Halloween 4 actually got topless, but or we could see. I don't know. There you go. I don't know, but that you don't see anything, and I believe she didn't want that either. If memory serves, I think she was like, no, I'm not doing that, and good for her. But
and a shout out to my wife who's watching me rank boobs downstairs.
That's right. That's right.
Zoe.
That's right. That's funny. That's right, Zoe. It's just guy talk, Zoe. It's but I don't think there's too many. I don't think, other than that, I don't even think there are topless scenes in Halloween. So I think that would be a very short list, to be honest with you. Chris Baber says, it's just funny. Hi, honey. Chris Baber says, what does Frank wash his beard with? Also Also love the title Slaughtered Lamb as a headline. Darren and Frank make a solid team. And they do, 100%. So,
Thanks,
yeah,
Chris.
what do you wash your amazing beard with?
They make actual beard shampoo. Mine specially ordered. You know, I think I have Himalayan monks make mine. But yeah, you don't want to use regular bar hand soap. It just dries out your beard. And you also want to moisturize your face afterwards using some kind of beard oil. Comb it with a wood comb first, because then it gets all the tangles out, and then brush it.
Gotcha.
And then Dettol.
right.
Dettol for the puke.
Yeah. It's just to have some nature creature come and lick it right out. You know.
That's it. That's funny. Reese Wilson sends in $14.99 Australian dollar. Says, "Hey Darren and Frank, I have enjoyed binging your show the last week or so. The Halloween 3 commentary was hilarious, and I can't wait for the Big Trouble Little China episode. That's my favorite film."
We'll get to it.
Very cool.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I haven't seen that in a while.
Movie.
Wayne Gotke sends in a $10 super chat and says, "Since Laurie Strode, who was born Cynthia Myers in older timelines, is no longer Michael's sister, does anyone think it's possible Cynthia could be split into an all-new protagonist-antagonist character?" Let me read this again. Since Laurie Strode, who was born Cynthia Myers in older timelines, Cynthia Myers, where was that confirmed? Cynthia Myers. It sounds familiar, but what movie was that confirmed in, Wayne? Or is that in the book or something? Or Cynthia Myers? Because I don't think we get from Halloween 1 through 2 and know that, do we? I don't think we do.
I wonder if it's a comic in the comic series.
Because you see it, and then now I'm out. I'm like on Shark Tank. I'm out. I've heard that. But if it's not in the films, it's anyway. Since Laurie Strode, who was born Cynthia Myers in older timelines, is no longer Michael's sister, does anyone think it's possible Cynthia could be split into all new protagonist-antagonist character? I don't think so, because she's Laurie Strode, right? So I don't think there's a protagonist-antagonist character. I guess just sort of reinvent the character. Maybe it's a long-lost sister that wasn't Laurie Strode that Michael didn't know about. I mean, look, at face value to your question, sure. I mean, yeah, I guess so. But do we want that is the question.
Maybe she could team up with the Reverend from Part 4 and hunt that thing instead.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe they're married, actually.
Oh,
maybe they're married. They're married. That's right. I don't know. Darren, what do you think?
I'm just kind of hoping they end it after Kills.
The same.
Sorry, not Kills, ends. After
ends yeah.
And done. That's it.
At least for 5 years.
Yeah, no, at least for 6 months until they find. No, it's true. I really do hope that they end it. They leave it alone. I know there's a lot of fans that want them to continue. If I do think this is going to be the end of, at least I'm hoping, of the Michael Myers that we know, and then just let it go. Just let it go. And if you want to revisit the story in the future when we're all dead and buried or whatever, okay, and maybe it'll be a virtual reality thing then by that time, and people actually be in the movie. I don't know. But I just don't know what else you do. What else do you do with it? Like, I know the only thing that, and I don't think they're going to do this. I really don't think they're going to do it. But the only thing that would pique my interest is if, that I was like, oh, that's interesting, is if they did a direct sequel to Halloween 4. Like, they went back and they decided to do this kind of, because you get Danielle Harris, because then you can get Danielle Harris back and it makes sense continuity-wise. And that might be kind of fun. Maybe it's a series or something. I don't know. But other than that, the characters, it's been beaten with a dead horse. It's been beaten with a dead horse. I think that's what it kind of. I don't know.
I'm waiting for Michael in a submarine. That I think would be a good movie.
It's done.
On a camel.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It just feels like it's done. It feels like it's done. It's unfortunate that people. Not everybody, but people think, well, if you're a fan, you want to go on. No, I'm a fan. I want it to end because I don't want this to turn into what they were trying to avoid. What are they going to do? Halloween ends and then Halloween begins, again,
it seems like with a lot of movies, space seems to be where you're,
yes,
you jump the shark. You throw anything in space, it's done.
Maybe we put Michael on Mars or something. David Lee Barron says, to the sexiest MF in the universe, Pastor Riker. I bet you've had a few run-ins with Cujo, have you? Word on the street is that he's your guard dog. Yeah, I bet you have had a few run-ins with some temperamental dogs.
I can give people some advice about running in with a lot of pissed off dogs. Stand still, stand your ground, and yell. You'll be saved every moment. And then when all else fails, pick up something and hit it.
Right. So like command being alpha, essentially.
Yep. You stand like Gandalf. Remember when he fought that demon? Yep. Just stand there and hold your ground. That's
fascinating.
The best advice. I never been bitten in 10 years doing it. Never.
Wow. Amazing. Wow. Now that's been said. No.
Got one attached to me now.
That's right. Yeah. Frank actually has his own show where the dogs get to lick the beard. And anyway,
will they lick this? Let's find out.
That's right. Well, what Frank does is he gets completely inebriated anytime before he goes to a house where there's a dog, and he lies on the on the sidewalk, and the dogs come out, and that's how he gets them to, that's what happens.
You scream Tom Atkins' ass, and it runs the other way.
Harry Hagen says Frank Riker looks like Braun Strowman. Is that a wrestler? Braun Strowman?
A Viking.
Maybe a Viking.
Is he?
I think he's a wrestler. I've heard of Braun. I think it's a WWE wrestler. I think Braun Strowman. Chris Baber says, at Darren and Frank, any plans on Texas Chainsaw Show or maybe even Escape from New York?
We did Escape from New York. We did that.
We did.
Oh yeah, you guys did do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Texas Chainsaw is going to be way further down the line because he's part of one of those big 3/4.
Right.
So everyone's going to be talking about it. There's a lot of fan films coming out on Texas Chainsaw. So we're probably
there are.
We'll wait a little bit for that though.
Gotcha.
But we got Escape from New York is on there though.
Right. Real Reveal says, Dave, you should grow a beard like our boy Frank. I should just grow it all the way down and just like a real long sort of
ZZ Top. We could ZZ Top this whole thing.
We could start like a biker gang. You know what I mean? And we
Derek
could all
could do
just,
the mustache.
Yeah, and I'll drive my chopper from Toronto to Jersey, and then we'll just ride around. Yeah, totally. Done. It's done. Chris Snyder says, I also want it to end after Halloween ends, but I know Hollywood will bring it back after a few years. Yeah, you're probably right, Chris.
You're right, Chris.
You are probably right. It's I mean it really at the end of the day it would depend if the box office keeps going up. that's not what people who want it to end want. You know, we don't want it to fail miserably. We would like everybody to get paid and have their, you know, well, they're going to get paid regardless, but I mean, you know, you'd like it to do well. But if like hypothetically, we know that Halloween 18 made 254, I think. If Halloween Ends makes like 284, and then Halloween Kills makes like 284, if it had an opportunity to do that, and Halloween Ends was to make like 302, oh damn it, that's not good. It's not good because then that means Halloween that shit. Yeah,
the birth of Halloween.
Yeah, probably good. Now, statistically, that doesn't usually happen. I mean, you know, usually the sequels drop, but it also depends by how much. I just think that end it, and I think I don't know. I have this feeling that is the plan. But you know, he's back. James Jude Courtney is going to be 86 and still doing it. Okay, we got about another 5 minutes or so. David Lee Barron says, Dear Dr. Professor Pichet, how the fork are you? I'm doing well. Is there a deleted scene with Billy skinny dipping? Did you call that scene It's Me, Willie? Yes, there is a deleted scene of It's Me, Billy skinny dipping, leaping off of the roof of the house into the snow, and he's swimming in the snow, and he's completely buck naked. And but we decided to remove it. We just decided it didn't really add
with his dorsal fin out.
That's it, exactly. We figured it didn't really add anything new to the or add anything to it. Simon says, "Hi, Dave, Darren, and Frank. Any plan to do Night of the Creeps on the Slaughtered Lamb podcast? Long live the King, Tom Atkins."
It's possibility for sure. I'd like to do a Tom Atkins episode.
We could do the Tom Atkins episode, Darren, or we could do Creatures from Outer Space. Those little creeps are, you know, from outer space.
Yes. Or even do what was that one that those I think there were 2 of them or 3 of them. The creatures that came out of the toilet, the ghoulies. The ghoulies. Yeah.
Turd bowl monsters.
I mean, essentially, it's like, you know, if you never wanted to go swimming after Jaws, you never wanted to sit on a toilet again after Ghoulies. Everybody was just sort of squatting, you know, didn't want to actually sit right on it. DMT Infinity says, Frank, if you were a pizza, what would your toppings be? Darren, if you were a burrito, what would be inside you? And Dave, if you were an alcoholic beverage, what would you be? An alcoholic beverage, I would probably be, I don't know, maybe Jack Daniels. I don't know. Maybe something like that, you know? Maybe, I don't know. What about you, Frank? What would your toppings be?
I'm a meat lover.
Meat lover.
No pineapple here. I'm sorry. The fruit does not belong on.
I'm gonna have to. I will have to send Victoria Miro a.
You're you're one step away from putting strawberries and grapes on it. Yeah, it's
You know what I saw in the grocery store the other day?
Ambrosia.
I walked by the frozen food section where they have all, you know, the pizzas and everything. And I'm looking in and there was a chocolate pizza. And I'm like, what? what? Is this new? Like, who the hell's going to put chocolate? But maybe it's good. Chocolate and cheese. I don't know. Maybe it's really good.
With cheese.
I think it had cheese.
Maybe it has the drizzle. All of
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it didn't have cheese. I don't know. But it certainly was insane. I thought chocolate on pizza. And it was like a pizza, not like a ice cream cake. It was like a pizza.
There's a chocolate pizzeria in Caesar's Palace, I believe.
Really?
But I don't think they put cheese on it as well.
I think it's a dessert thing.
Well, maybe it was a dessert thing. Maybe it was. Maybe I just saw it and barfed into the glass unnecessarily. All the glass, all of it. And then Darren, I guess a burrito. I don't know.
A burrito. Yeah, I thought I'd have some chicken in there. It'd be fine for me. I've seen DMT's YouTube channel before, so I'm not surprised that question came from me.
Oh, lordy. Evil Alex says, Frank and Darren, what are your favorite cartoons and TV shows from your childhood?
I loved He-Man. I was a big He-Man fan.
Same. Loved
especially the little guy who, I had the toy of him where you push him down and he like ran
Man.
the wall. Yeah, I like that.
Man.
I love that little guy. And there was a couple shows on the USA Network. The Hitchhiker. I love
right.
Silk Stockings. To me was kind of like adolescent porn when I was watching it.
Wow.
And there was a short-lived show called Werewolf. Which I thought the makeup job. Chuck Connors was in it. He was Scorsese. He played a eye-patched werewolf. I thought that was awesome as a kid.
Very cool. What about you, Darren?
Oh, I mean, I can't remember He-Man was a bit after my time as a kid, I think. Right. So I just remember watching programs and they were all American ones as well. So Friday night would always be like a pop and crisps night, and we'd have Starsky and Hutch would be on, kind of late 70s, early 80s. TJ Hooker. My favorite was The Fall Guy when I was a kid. With Lee Majors.
Right.
But yeah, that's
very cool.
I was hugely into Star Wars as a kid as well.
Yeah, same.
And we also got the first VHS around that kind of early 80s period, first VHS players. So I watched a lot more films than I did TV.
Right. I gotcha. Yeah, no, for me, definitely, I was a He-Man guy. I was, I wasn't really into Transformers, to be honest with you, but definitely into He-Man. Some of the kid shows I watched, it was a Canadian show, actually, shot in Toronto, but it did very well in the States, too, called Today's Special. And I think it was on Nickelodeon, I believe. And that was where Jeff the mannequin, and if his hat fell off his head, he would be still, and he would turn into a mannequin, and you had to put the hat back on him and say the magic words. And it was a live action kid show, and I liked that. And then not a lot of the Smurfs. I like the Smurfs. La 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 la. I like the Smurfs, and and I was a big Dukes of Hazzard fan. I liked the Dukes of Hazzard, when I was a kid, when there wasn't any controversy around, around the car and the flag and all that. It was one of my favorite shows. Knight Rider, I loved, and
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I did. I liked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was the later. That was 87. It was funny. The Ninja Turtles cartoon started in 87, but I didn't get into it in 87. I actually got into it when I was around 10 in 89, 90. 11. I quite like that. Sitcoms I liked, of course. Your classic American sitcoms like Family Ties and Elf. I was a big Elf fan. I loved Elf. The alien. Yeah, loved Elf. Mel Mac. Yeah, 8 Cats. And I liked Three's Company. I was a big Three's Company fan.
Were you a Chrissy fan?
I liked Suzanne Summers' portrayal of Chrissy in the first 2 seasons of Three's Company. By season 3, her character, was so ridiculously off. I didn't find her attractive. I thought she was, and I'm more partial to brunettes than I am blondes. Not that blondes aren't attractive, folks. If there's any blondes watching, I just mean how you always have, your preferences and what you're drawn to. But Chrissy being a blonde, I thought she was more like she was the blonde bimbo idiot. That was the stereotype. But she wasn't a complete, like she wasn't like, in seasons 1 and 2, she was more naive, you know what I mean? And sweet and kind of cute. By season 3 and 4, she was like, you would never let that woman walk out of the apartment because she would wind up somewhere. She was literally dumb. Like, I mean, dumb. She was like a clown. And I hated it. It was a big turn. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. So, yeah, I liked her in the first couple of seasons, but by season 3, I wanted to shoot her and get her. It was just, oh my God, it was awful. Especially by season 4, it was she was like, and all. It's like, oh God, it was such a far cry away from what she was. But I was a big fan of that show too. So lots of fun.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So
Three's Company was the American version.
John Ritter.
Three's Company was
I like John Ritter.
Yeah. Three's Company was the American version of the British show. Was it Man About the House or Man About
the House? Really?
Man About the House. Yeah.
With the two girls and the guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
So Three's Company was the American version of that. It was hugely successful. I mean, one of the top rated shows in its first few seasons. And John Ritter played Jack Tripper, who was the guy. And then Suzanne Summers and what's her face? Why am I drawing a blank on Janet Wood? But
Janet,
the actress's name, I'm drawing a blank for some reason. So they, it was that, and it was a farce show, right? And it was just silly and all that, but it was very successful. Ran for 8 seasons. And did very well. And but yeah, that was a fun show. I really enjoy that, and I still kind of watch that from time to time. If I'm kind of feeling under the weather and I want a little bit of comfort or something, and I'll pop on some Three's Company. And it's just, of course, it's so dated now. It's so silly, and there's so many things on there you couldn't do today. But it was Joyce DeWitt. That's it. Thank you. That's right. Yeah. Joyce DeWitt. Yeah. All right, let me just, we'll see if we can wrap this up here. Chris Baber sends in a super chat, says, fabulous show. We've been waiting to see this with your mods. Best of luck to Frank, the Tank, and Darren. You guys make this COVID lockdown tolerable.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
For saying that. Really appreciate that, man. Really, really do appreciate that. And then we'll see if we just get a couple of quick non-super chat ones in here. Chris says, I loved Three's Company, and I'm a 90s kid. Yeah, Three's Company was fun. And Kenny525 says, South Park. South Park, I was a teenager when South Park came out. I will admit, though, I do love Family Guy. I think Family Guy is hilarious. Gary Rangel says, Frank and Darren, what are y'all's favorite podcast y'all have discussed about? Your favorite podcast that you listen to, I guess.
I like Junk Food Cinema. That's Robert Cargill, who is a writer for Marvel. He also wrote the movie Sinister. He wrote Doctor Strange as well. And he does a podcast with another guy. I can't remember the guy's name now. And Robert Cargill is an absolute mine of information. They do one movie per episode, and he knows his shit. He really does.
Amazing.
And that's a great podcast.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Junk Food Cinema.
Junk Food Cinema. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's awesome.
Yeah, Darren turned me onto that one, and I'm still listening to old Joel Rogan stuff right now, not his new stuff. I kind of think he went opposite a little bit. Got a little, the company he went to is
Spotify.
Yeah, I think it's kind of ruining his show a little bit. That's my personal opinion.
Right.
But yeah, I'm seeing to go back to his old stuff, and plus Darren's suggestion.
That's cool. I don't really have any podcasts that I listen to. I sort of just dabble in everything. Like I've listened to Rogan and I've listened to God, I don't even know. I'm just kind of dabbling all. I'll see a topic and I'll, and listen. But I don't think there's anything one in particular that I listen to specifically. But All right, so this will be the last one. Julian Turner says, do you guys think there'll be a clear winner in Godzilla versus Kong? I'm all for them teaming up against a bigger threat in the third act, but I hope they don't shy away from one of them definitively winning. From what I know, I don't think they are going to shy away from definitively a winner, which I have a feeling, and I have no inside information to this, but I have just a feeling, because Kong is an American creation, and Godzilla is a Japanese creation, and we've had two movies with Godzilla. One called Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Godzilla, that was his movie to shine. I just have this feeling that they're going to want to give it to Kong. And I think it's a very American thing to do. And I know I think there's a possible rights thing with the name King Kong. Like, that's why they haven't referred to him as King Kong or something to that effect. I've heard certain kind of things with that. But if they can get that sorted out, or if it's not as much of an issue as I keep looking up here out of habit. You guys are over here today. I think that it would be because it's Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Kong comes along. He's not referred to as King Kong. He's just referred to as Kong. I know in Kong Skull Island, there's the one line, that's Kong, he's king around here. It was sort of their way of kind of, calling him that without actually saying it. It wouldn't surprise me if Kong wins and he's crowned King Kong. It just kind of feels like it's leading to that. I'm a Godzilla fan. I'm Team Godzilla. I would love to see, Godzilla win, but I just have this feeling he's not going to. And I have heard by somebody who does know, who's the director again? Adam Wingard?
Yeah.
That says that there it's not going to be like they're kind of, and that there is going to be a winner. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a winner by, say, like the end of the second act, but then they make everybody feel better about whoever loses by maybe having them team up to fight a bigger force in the rest of the third act. So they kind of sweeten it, a little bit. They might do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys
think? I actually, and they shot that film a while ago now.
They did.
It's quite some time since they shot it. And 2 years, it's coming up to 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
I was privileged enough to see a sequence from it. And it was the sequence that they keep putting on the posters with the two of them on the aircraft carrier fighting.
Right.
And it was stunning, absolutely stunning. And I love Adam Wingard's stuff anyway.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a real carpenter nut, and you can see that throughout a lot of his movies. What did he do? The Guest.
Guest, he did.
You're Next, did he do as well, I think?
Something like that. Yeah.
He's
talented.
Yeah, he's a good director. He's had a couple of misses, but on the whole, I really like his stuff. So I wasn't a fan of the last Godzilla movie. Not at all, to be honest.
I liked the last one better than the 2014 one.
Oh, really?
Me too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did. Because I think I liked it because it was just an unabashed monster movie. It was old school. It wasn't trying to be anything other than that. I mean, the character development was what it was. But I actually enjoyed it more than the 2014 one. It's funny. Yeah, I did. I got what I wanted to see. Was just a big spectacle.
Good.
Yeah, I mean,
good. Well, I'm glad you did, good. Dave. But here's why it fucking sucks.
I'm on Team Kong. I want Kong to win.
Right.
And everyone says, well, he's got the atomic. Godzilla's got the atomic flame breath. How do you do that? But then I also say King Kong's more agile.
Yeah.
He can pick a rock and throw it and everything.
Yeah.
I will be watching it when it comes out on HBO Max.
Right.
So I will. I'm anticipating a good, just I guess fisticuff type movie. I do hope there's a clear winner, but Dave, I ultimately agree with you. I think what's his name, King Ghidorah's head is still around. His
King Ghidorah, King Ghidorah, yeah.
His head, like you said, something's gonna come up, or maybe the Godzilla we know is Mecha Godzilla, and he's gonna show up. But yeah, I'm on Team Kong, and I hope it's good.
Yeah. Darren, did you finish your thought? I can't remember. I interrupted you, and I can't remember if you finished your thought.
Yeah.
What team are you on, Darren?
What team? Oh, I Kong.
Kong. Oh.
This is why we're together, people.
I'm Team Zilla, and I just. But that goes back to being a kid. I've always been a big Godzilla fan, ever since I was a little boy. So
and they both had cartoons. King Kong had a cartoon, and so did Godzilla.
Godzilla had a cartoon. Remember, it was Godzilla and Godzuki. It was like his. It was like his big fly down. And Godzuki. It was like, oh, fuck it. But it was so like. And it would begin like bum 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 from the depths of the sun, whatever it was. It was like really, and then you see Godzilla rise and
1 second he'd go back down.
Yeah, and he'd go back down, and then all of a sudden it was this Godzilla, and Godzuki, and it's like.
What was it? Fucking
there are
what was the point of him? What was the point of Godzuki? Was he the one that I'm trying to remember now. Did he signal to Kong? Not to Kong, to Godzilla?
I don't know. And
did they use him as like a kind of beacon
or something? Was
Godzuki
his son or something, or his?
He was like the zoo for
brother?
the Flintstones. He just show up,
But he was. but was he Godzilla's son or his brother or something?
Where's Mrs. Godzilla?
Well, that's what it's King Kong. Maybe that.
Oh.
Oh, that's I know. Bum ching. I know it's awful. It shouldn't have happened.
Hey, Godzilla can be whatever he wants. Damn it.
That's true. That's true. Well, it's true. You're absolutely right. I don't know what he was. Godzuki. Yeah, it was a weird. There are so many older cartoons, and even cartoons that we grew up with that I look at and I think to myself, my God, I want to drop acid and just watch these old things and just see what it's like, because they're so weird, and it's like, what the hell is? And I'm kidding, kids. No drugs, kids, okay? But sometimes I'm just like, my girlfriend and I will watch something and we'll be like, can you imagine being high watching this? Like, holy shit. Like, it's weird, not high. You can only imagine what it'd be like. The colors and the weird things and the costumes and stuff. It's just so strange. It's so strange. Anyway, listen, Frank, Darren, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I love talking with you guys. You guys are amazing. I love the kibitzing back and forth. The chemistry between us, and certainly between you and each other, I should say, both Frank and Darren. The chemistry between you guys is palpable, and it's great. And you can hear it. You can see it here. You can hear it on the the Slaughtered Lamb podcast. And I really appreciate you guys coming on to do this. It's been a long time coming. So I had a lot of fun today.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Really
and guys, don't forget that Frank and Darren not only moderate my Evil Alex, only cocaine, Dave. Moderate not only, of course, this channel, but they have their podcast, the Slaughtered Lamb podcast, which I will provide a link for in a pinned post at the top of the comment section of this page once this goes live, which it will be immediately live after the fact, and that's what I will do. So I will be back probably tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 138 of MCRAE Live. I'm thinking about making the show twice a week as opposed to 3 days a week. That's just because of everything that's been really going on lately with It's Me Billy and the post-production and all this kind of stuff. But I may be able to get a show in tomorrow as well. I haven't made a definitive sort of choice on that yet. So, but I will definitely keep you guys posted when and if that happens. Thank you, Tabitha. There it is there. Tabitha just dropped the link into the chat room. Really appreciate that. Check it out.
Thanks, Tab.
Download it. Listen to it. Support these guys. They're hilarious, and it's a great podcast. So yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And any last things you want to say, or?
Darren and I are coming up on Fandom Empire with Sean. We're watching Scream. So we're going to be doing a Scream watch along. That's on January 31st. And
I'm going to mark that on my calendar.
It's Sunday afternoon, so it's going to be like either like 5 or 6 o'clock. We have to work out the time, but it's going to be earlier in the Sunday. But yeah, you'll get Darren and I's unfiltered critique of that precious movie we hold dear.
Fascinating. Are you a Scream fan, Darren?
The first 15 minutes of the first film, yes. The rest of it can go in the bin for me. I've had enough.
Wow, fascinating. Did you hear that? Think of all you Scream fans now. But Darren! that's what's happening. But Darren!
I'm offended.
But that's what it is. Oh my goodness. I like the first Scream movie for what it is, but I've never really enjoyed it as a franchise per se. I don't hate it, but I'm not. It's not one of my. I think the shtick wore out after the first movie. I think you kind of do it and it's done.
Well, somebody the other day was ranking the Ghostface characters, and it's like.
Ranking they all look the same.
They're all identical.
Ranking the Ghostface characters, that's amazing.
See where I'm coming from?
That's pretty cool. I'm going to definitely have to tune into that. By the way, speaking of Fandom Empire, I will be on Fandom Empire tonight with Sean, and I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I'll be on there, and so don't forget to tune into that if you get a chance. I think it's tonight. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll check with Sean. I think it's tonight. It's the 21st day. Yeah, it should be tonight. Alrighty, guys, have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty, cheers.